Hi, hello. Hello, Hams. Hello, testing, testing.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, sir. You're on mute.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning, sir. Good morning, Mr. Pankaj, sir. Maitri, can you take over?
Good morning, everyone. The future is created by your dreams because you don't know what is going to happen next. How do you create your future? You create it by a dream when your dream has set of timelines. You automatically become passionate, in the words of Mr. Pankaj Dubey. Hello to one and all, and welcome to today's session. I'd like to introduce to you all Mr. Pankaj Dubey, CEO and MD, Power Global Energy Services, and the co-founder of Power Global PBC, a recipient of Top 50 Indian Icon 16, a famous TEDx speaker, a well-established name in the Indian automobile industry. Also a recipient of Intellectual Icon 2020 and the ex-CEO Polaris. The Srinidhi family welcomes you, sir. Let us begin with a leadership talk, the webinar, Big Dream. The dream big, invest in the future technologies. For those of you who just joining us, welcome to the webinar. Sir, we would love to hear from you.
Thank you, Maitri. It's a pleasure to interact with all of you. And I'm happy that Vasudevji reached out to me and we decided to do this session with your students. I feel privileged to be part of this, and I do spend a lot of time with the students, basically to shape the future of the country, because the future of the country depends upon the youth, and youth can play the critical role. All big changes that has happened in the world has come from the youth itself. And so therefore I feel happy and privileged to be talking to the youth directly. And thank you, SNIST Institute and the team behind. Thank you, Maitri, for introducing me. I'll just share my screen with all of you. I've made a short presentation, and then we can have the discussion and question answer round. Is the screen visible to all of you?
Yes, it is.
Nice. So the topic for today is of great interest to me. Number one, dream big, because I feel that when you have whatever dreams that you have, all the dreams becomes a reality. And therefore, you should not think small. That is what I've learned from my life. And I would be happy to share in greater detail about my journey and also about the learnings from life. one biggest learning that I've had in my life is that any dreams that you set becomes a reality, but I've learned only those become a reality which has a date attached to it. That you put a date, a timeline, okay, by this date, I will be able to achieve it. And therefore, I would be really encouraging all the students that you may have definitely big dreams, but if you really want to realize it, start putting a date. From my college days when I was a student like you, I used to think about that I will do this 5 years, 10 years ahead. And I used to talk big, and sometimes it was not taken well by the colleagues, thinking, oh, he talks so much. But I used to say that, people will interview me in their magazines. People will come from television companies to interview me how I have done this. And also to share that I'll do something great for the industry and make changes. And so everything was seen. As a student, people used to just see that, oh, he just speaks too much maybe. But then what I shared, that 5 to 10 years, actually became a reality in about 7 to 8 years' time. And I was spoken in detail about that in my TEDx talk. And so whenever you have free time, you can go through that. And that is when I realized that it's not just that you should have a dream with a timeline like 5 to 10 years, but if you put a date to it, it becomes more interesting. So next time, when I dreamt big, I put a date attached to it. And likewise, I have been doing it repeatedly, and I've seen that wherever I have made a big dream and put a date, that has become a reality. Some of the learnings to shape the future has been that, opportunities will come your way. Sometimes you become fearful that, oh, if I take this opportunity, what's going to happen? But actually, you have to be fearless, and you have to leave your destiny thinking positively that is going to be good only. And therefore, it becomes very important that you be fearless. You have, first of all, make yourself high strength in the core values. And once you become strong in your core values, which is integrity, optimism, and all that good qualities that your teachers and everybody would have taught, once you have ingrained that into yourself, then you be fearless and take on the opportunities. Being positive is very important, because I've seen that, most of the time, then the opportunity comes and the person feels there are two sorts of person. One may say it is doable, and the second may say it's not doable. For me, both are important. I also need a person who would say it's not doable, because from there I will learn why it is not doable, what are the bottlenecks, and I will plan in such a way that those bottlenecks are fulfilled and we are positive and we achieve the goal. So even from a negativity, even from a negative comments, you have to find out the reason and be positive. And then learning from the past is something so important. You have to learn from the past, but you don't have to become a slave of the past. So like there are many sayings to say, we have attempted it so many times and every time it's been a failure. So that doesn't mean that you will fail again. Maybe you have to learn from the past, but don't become a slave of the past, because at times, the new thing will be developed, new technology will come, future generations will change, and what was not possible in the past will become possible tomorrow. So therefore, you have to be learning from the past always and growing, but always look beyond to the future. And accepting challenge and change is very important. Life would keep on throwing you various opportunities and various changes. We have to learn. Like today's example, we got stuck for almost more than a year now with COVID, and it has given a big change, how to live, how to spend your day, what you have to do. You have to be, you have to do your work, but at the same time, you can't visit your workplace. So the web has become the working place, and we are doing the webinar today. Otherwise, I would have been in Hyderabad talking to you in person. But now today, because of this, we are here. So accepting change and accepting challenge is very important, because it's a change has been really very bad. And I'm sure many of you would have become COVID positive. Many of you would have really lost some of the close relatives. I lost a few very close people in my life, and it's been very tough. But then we have to accept the change and move on, and have to learn that, okay, what we need to do under the circumstances. What are we supposed to take the challenge right now? It's very difficult, but what can we do right now? For example, now we are, even with all the losses that we have had, we are doing this webinar. Why? Because we want to create a better future. And therefore, the challenges will come, and such challenges were never foreseen that something like this is going to happen. But what we have to do is that even under the circumstances, we have to prepare what can we do tomorrow. And then innovation is something which is very, very critical for success. And therefore, all the time that you have to figure out what can be done differently, what can we do uniquely, what can be done and in innovation, so that the life of the people changes for betterment. So that is something, these are some core values which are very critical for shaping the future. Another very important thing that I've learned in my life is that the future does not belong externally somewhere. Future belongs in our own head, in our own thoughts. So what I believe, we must have read this, that your thoughts become your words become your action, and your action ultimately it goes to become your habit, and your destiny is decided by that. And I firmly believe in this, because your destiny depends on your thoughts. So the key message is what I am thinking right now. If my thinking is positive, if my thinking is like I want to really make changes to the world, it's going to happen. And if my thinking is I'm sad, I can't do anything right now, you won't be able to do. Believe me, I just before starting this call, I lost one of my very close friend and neighbor who helped me a lot in my past. Just 2 minutes before entering this conference, I got to know that he has left this world. So the sad part is always there. But then, the message that I shared with him, that he was a great soul, his family is great, and I'm sure that the God wants him back to change and build a new world, and therefore he will come. So God has chosen him to take him away from the current circumstances, but will send him back again to change the world and bring a new world, which I firmly believe that the new world is going to come, which will be much better than what it is today. And all the worst thing that we have learned in the past and we have faced would be changed forever, and it will become a very new and a very nice place to be in. And that's what I feel that the future is going to happen. But it all depends upon what thoughts you are having. If I have a sad thought, then my behavior will be sad. I would be looking at, and I won't be able to give very good output. How and when do you give the best output? When you are optimistic, you are happy, and you are saying, okay, I can do it. Then we will give more output. And the day that you feel, that I can't do anything, it's not possible for me, and you are sad, you won't be able to do. So what is the core message is that your thoughts and only your thoughts is important, not about others. You can discuss your thought with others, fructify your word into a words, make your action plan, and then that's going to become your destiny. But the key is, what is your thought? In anything, whether you are an engineering student and you want to choose your future, whether you decided to join this prestigious organization where you are learning right now, and what do you think you can become tomorrow, all of that would be coming from your own thoughts. Teachers would be the same. They will be teaching the same theories to everyone, but the reception by you will make you a different person who can make the change. So what is very critical is your own thoughts. And I believe that if you work on your thoughts and you improve your thoughts, you focus your thoughts into the right direction, it will get changed. And what we will start speaking would be what in that direction. And then your action will follow and everything else would follow, and your thoughts, your big dreams will become a reality. So to make a big dream a reality, it's important that you think big and you start thinking positive and be happy. Most of the time, it's not possible to be happy 24 hours because you will get sad news. Now, how soon can you come out of that sadness and complete the task that you have thought about will decide your future and your success. So dreams become real and you become what you think. So if you have to change and you want to achieve your dream, what do you have to change? You have to change your own thinking, your own thoughts. Nobody else would be able to give you your dreams, only you. And how you learn from the circumstances and definitely these circumstances, teachers, friends, everybody is important for the success. But the key message is your thoughts are the key. Most of us are working in the Indian market, and I believe very highly in the Indian values. And in order to be successful in the Indian market, you have to understand the depth of the Indian people. Then you will be able to be successful in the Indian market. So some of the Indian values I have just mentioned here. Number one is compassion, the way that we feel about the other person, the way that we think about the entire universe, and the way that it has been taught to us right from the beginning, like Vasudev, Vasudev Kutumbakam, like everything of the universe is one, and we have to be thinking about them. And the compassion is taught in a way which is listed here in number of things, like the ecological balance, that you have been made compassionate not only towards other human beings, but also to the planets like sun, moon. We have so many, we worship every day to sun, Surya Namaskar, then moon, Chandrama, all the related festivals are around moon. Jupiter, the Brihaspati, the Guru, is being seen as a big planet, and we worship him, worship on a Thursday to a plant, which is a banana tree. Feeding animals, like it's so important to feed bird, cow, dogs, and even we have a festival for feeding snake. So those sort of a thing has been taught to us, that has to be an ecological balance, not just for the human being, but also for the nature and also for animals. And then watering plants. Today it is so important, the biggest problem today we are facing is the breathing problems, the lungs problem. And the lungs problem is aggravated because of lower number of trees, because our extended lung is the tree. What we exhale is carbon dioxide, what we inhale is oxygen, and the plants are the reverse of it. So if the plants are near you, then your breathing problem would be less. And therefore, and this has been taught to us for generations by our forefathers, our ancestors. And we have been taught to say, okay, worship banana tree on Thursday, worship people tree on Saturday, water tulsi every day, and all of that has been taught to us so that you become closer to the plants. And in India, spirituality, religious, and astrology plays a very big role. Now you would say that, what are you teaching to engineering students? Astrology is important? No, astrology is so important if you want to enter into the Indian market, that if you don't understand astrology, you would not be successful in India. I'll give you an example. Like, there's so many people who eat vegetarian food and non-vegetarian food, but you will be surprised to know that the number of vegetarians turns so high on a Tuesday in India, on a Saturday in India. And number of people who buy vehicles and iron products, the steel products on a Saturday goes down dramatically. Nobody wants to buy it. Why? It's all related to astrology, and it is inbuilt into the system. You can't differentiate it. You can't change it. And therefore, it is so important to learn. Now you are a head of, say, a company which is making foods, and you are supplying it to, say, airlines. Now, if you don't know that the Tuesday, the ratio will go down, you will have excess inventory and you will not be successful. And therefore, it is very important, if you want to be successful, that you must respect and have the knowledge of the background of the people that you're dealing with. And to sum it all, the teachings have been that you have to have a healthy mind in order to be successful. And there are a lot of sayings which you will learn from your parents, your gurus, that, okay, do this to become successful. But A healthy mind is the prerequisite to success. This is another very important slide that I prepared, that to shape a future, what is very important is to have a willpower, to have a belief in yourself and have a positive attitude. You can be a yes man or you can be a no man. Both are required, as I said earlier. But to say a yes, you have to have a lot of confidence and abilities to be able to deliver that yes into a reality. Now I'll tell you a very basic thing. How do you build willpower? Now everybody says that you should have a strong willpower, but how do you build that? I don't know about, I haven't been exposed to any textbooks where it says that this is how you can increase the willpower. But I have learned it my own way, and I feel that that's a very powerful tool. The willpower, to increase the willpower, you have to do certain things in a way that you decided, and then you don't change, even if great temptation comes in. For example, it's been taught to you that you have to be righteous, you have to be honest, you don't have to touch black money, but at times you will be pursued to take huge money, and you may say, okay, no problem, one time let me take, my fortunes will change and then I'll again become honest. But then it is where the willpower comes in, that if you have that willpower, you're building it slowly, then you resist that temptation and you will give up that and you'll say, no, I will not do it. And that will make you a better and stronger person. And once you build that willpower, you'll be successful. I have done this by very basic things like keeping fast. You will be surprised to know that I keep almost fast for about 15 days in a month. I take limited food on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and then on Ekadashi. You would say, why would you do that? I do that because I started with one fast, which was on a Thursday, and then I started Saturdays, which have been like both these days, I've been fasting for more than 3 decades now. And what it builds me, that, I've decided that I will be keeping fast and would be having limited food, that these are not allowed. And now that food is lying in front of me. I'm, by the way, a very foodie person. I love to eat delicious food, chole bhatures. The more calorie and more love I have for the food. But on those days when your food is lying in front of you and you give up that builds the strong willpower. So whether you keep fasting on these days that I mentioned, or you keep fast on, you do rosa and anything that you do, those are the period where you resist and you are not tempted. And these small things build willpower, because then you know that something great will come and how I can resist that and how I can build this power. So that, and what I believe is that whatever you are practicing in one field will be implemented in others also. So on a personal level, you're building your willpower. You will show that power when you are in your job or you are creating your own venture. You would be showing that willpower. So these are some of the ingredients what I feel is important to shape a future. Now, innovation is something which is many ways to learn. You can learn from the past, or you can learn and create what was tried and what was not successful. And I can bring it today to the world, something very innovative, which can become very successful. I have been talking about this, that, the aeroplanes were invented much before, where even in a Ramayana, it has been talked about that Ravan took Sita ji from India to Sri Lanka in a Pushpak Viman, an aeroplane. Now, that aeroplane existed, say around 10,000 years back. This is what, roughly we can date it back to the Ramayana story. So, but there are various theories around it. But let's say, for example, it is 10,000 years back. This was invented and this was being used, not invented maybe many decades back or many centuries back. Now, my question has been that, what fuel was used by Ravan to run this aeroplane? Was it current petrol or diesel or anything? No, because that was not invented at that time. So there must be some energy source which was used in that, and because of which it became very successful. There is a book in India which is written on Pushpak Viman, not Pushpak Viman, but Viman Shastra, how a structure of a Viman is made. And there are multiple, theories around it, and to build it, in a multi-story aircraft. The design and all has been mentioned in that Shastra. So what I want to share with you is that you can go to the past, learn from there, and make something which is very new. Now, we all must have traveled in aircraft. You know that a lot of innovation is going on in this field. And it is said that maybe today, if I have to go from India to US, it takes about a minimum of 14 to 15 hours if I take a straight flight. And if I take a connected flight, it takes about 20 hours. So it's almost a day of journey. And it is being said that a new technology is being developed, new innovation is being done, supersonic commercial aircrafts are being planned, which will take you from India to US in, say, a couple of hours. The speed is about 3,800 miles per hour. So maybe 2 hours, maybe 1 hour, it will become a reality. So those kind of innovations are happening in various fields, and success happens only when you do something unique, something very different, and you give it to the world. So I would say that we can plan something out. If you can think something which is going to happen in the future and you can realize that today, you become very successful. I have seen business, I have led business with where there was no presence in this segment, and I saw that it's going to come in the future. And it became a $1 billion business in just few years' time, because I could see that that's going to happen. And I have to convince the management to actually launch that product, and it became a $1 million business. So like that, if you can think what's going to come tomorrow, there are various ways to learn that what is going to happen in the future. One of the ways is to go to the past, do the research, how it is done. Like I gave you example of Pushpak Viman. If you figure out that fuel, what fuel was used, definitely that fuel was not imported. It was lying here in the subcontinent, whether in India or Sri Lanka or anywhere. And if you can find that out and you start fueling with that, the new vehicles, the fortune of the country will change. Bharat will become Sone ki Chidiya again. Because right now we are doing so much of import of this fossil fuel that it is the balance of trade is becoming adverse. But if it changes, and Government of India is anyway doing a lot of work to see that if the electric vehicle industry can take off, and if that takes off, the profitable India would become again Sone ki Chidiya. So like that, if we develop, suppose that we find some fuel which is already lying here, and we test it out, do the R&D, and make it practically possible to be started using in all the vehicles, and the balance of trade becomes favorable now, which is adverse currently. You start exporting that, and your country will become the richest country in the world. A few centuries back, if you say, even when the Mughal Empire was there, and definitely much before that, India was exporting 1/3 of the world. Exports was happening from India. So that kind of economy India had, and it is being shared that by 2040 and 2040, India will again be reaching to the number 1 or number 2 position in the world in terms of economy and spiritually and everywhere. This is what is forecasted. And therefore, this is a very critical time that what can fuel that? I definitely feel that energy is one segment which will make India very big and will make it very prosperous for all of us. And therefore, I'm investing a lot of time, and I have like-minded partners who are also investing into this technology. And I will encourage you also to think about it, what can be done, and start thinking and turning your thoughts into reality and make a big dreams around it. In terms of changes, you must have seen how this small phone that we had a couple of decades back has changed to what we have in our hand today. And what's going to come is going to come something which is much more advanced, where instead of a wristwatch, you will have a phone and you can modify all that. Work is going on. There's so many new buzzwords coming, artificial intelligence, IoT, and so many new things are coming up. We are going to see fully autonomous vehicles where you have to go and sit in the car and say, okay, take me to that place. And the car will take you there. You don't have to drive it actually. And it is also, it is already a reality, but more work is going on around to make it universal and more successful. We have seen how the roads are polluted, in India, in the northern part especially. It's dreadful to be from September to February. It's so polluted, you can't see through the normal roads in a working day. It feels very sad, suffocating. A lot of people leave this world, irrespective of corona or no corona. That is the time that a lot of people get infected and the lungs give up, and many people lives are lost. I lost my father a couple of years back because of this pollution. And therefore, I'm working in this field, and I've got very good partners with me who are working around it. I see that the future in automobiles is electric vehicles. It's going to come. Maybe it will be a combination of electric batteries and using solar panels, which you can see in the sample vehicles in front of you, bottom right. And so those are going to come, and it's going to change the face of the country in future. One example is, a very neat and clean example that my engineering team and my partner, Porter Harris, who is the founder of the Power Global, he and his team has worked out a solution for India where a three-wheeler can be made very, very, environment friendly, and use technology, which is like really practical, and it can change the face. It can change the way that the vehicles are run. You can see that this is a future of electric vehicle adoption largely depends on how we do the electrification of light mobility, because in India is the largest two-wheeler, the largest three-wheeler manufacturer of the world. So the number of vehicles on street and the kind of pollution that it is giving to the market and what you see on the road is because a substantial portion of that is coming from the two-wheeler and three-wheeler population. And that is where we have developed a solution and a battery swapping infrastructure, which is going to change the future of mobility in the country in the two-wheeler and three-wheeler space. And we are committed to make that change. And you will shortly see these happening on ground in India. If you go and visit Power Global website, we haven't given any detailed information as of now. To make this meeting interesting, I had a word with my founder, and he said, okay, let's give some glimpse of it. So the first product of Power Global, a glimpse of it is being shown to you. So you will feel happy and proud that nobody else has seen in India or globally these products except the Power Global team. And that's what you're seeing now. So you can see that a big auto rickshaw, and the size of the battery is so small, and it is swappable, that you can go fix this battery, take the battery back, and go to the swapping station, change it. And like you go and change your and refuel your petrol or diesel vehicle, similarly, you can do this as well. And it is a very quick charging device, a very advanced technology that we are going to bring to India. The light mobility electrification would be made viable through battery swapping infrastructure. So we are going to use very superior two-wheeler, three-wheeler EV applications, which will change the very way that you see the vehicles moving around today. You see that the electric vehicle contribution to the overall industry in India is negligible right now, very, very small. But it's going to change in the next few years. And that is where it is important that you see what's going to happen in future and you make the contribution to that. And therefore, you would be very successful, and then you can realize all your dreams that you have. The advantage of these lithium-ion batteries are that they are very dense energy, have a very long life, and it is very light also. So it is so light that you can easily move it around, and you can do the swapping as well. The advantages of the structure is that it has low cost, and so a lot of advantages around it, and for making our product that we're planning to bring in India feasible and successful. So this is what I thought that let me share from my company, besides giving you all the background of the success and dreaming big and becoming successful. And I would at this stage would like to share with you my contact details that you can go and reach out to me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Insta by the name Pankaj Dubey 1967, and you can also reach out to me through my website. And if you have, I would be happy to help you realize your dream. So that's what my commitment to the youth is, that if you have any plan and if you want to really achieve something, and if I'm able to contribute, I'll definitely be available as much as possible to all of you. So this is what I wanted to present, and I'll complete my presentation for now, and then we can move on to any question answers or anything that you wanted to go in detail post this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dubey, sir, for this insightful and stimulating talk. And so rightly stated, sir, especially the philosophies towards life, our lives. We must accept the change, as that is the primary aspect which is constant. And we must remain positive irrespective of the situation and how our own thoughts impact the walk of our lives. What we think, we become, hence imbibing with the heritage, culture, and our roots, where we belong to, through learning as a holistic and spiritual approach. Well, without any further delay, let's get started with the conversation. Students, I would like to suggest you all to put down your questions, if you have any, in the chat box so that we can proceed with the interactive session. Okay, so would like to share a few questions with you, sir, which is has been put forward by the students. So what is your thought on the next big innovation in technology according to you? And which are the industries you think will emerge as a profitable organization post-COVID? And with respect to the career opportunities for students in future technologies, and what is your advice to the young engineering graduates?
So the first thing is that the students, you should be positive. You should not think that there is a COVID time, so it's bad luck for me. If it was a normal situation, I would have got a lot of opportunity. Now I'm not getting any opportunity. The opportunity for you is pretty big, because the kind of challenge that all the companies are going to face today is multifold, because there's a lockdown, the business has gone down, and therefore they have to restructure and re-energize the team. And what better way than to have more youngsters in the organization? I have seen youngsters play a big role in success of any organization. So I'm sure when you are optimistic, you are positive, and you're looking forward to good opportunities, you will definitely get. Remember my one statement, whatever you think is going to become a reality. If you think it's not possible to get a job under the circumstances, it will become a reality. And if you think I will get a good job under the circumstances, that will also become a reality. So the critical thing is what you are thinking. That's the most important and key message. Coming to the industry. The future industry that I am betting my life on, because what I had a discussion, there was an Economic Times forum where top CEOs of the country were invited, and I was fortunate to be invited in that forum as well. And they were asking that, what should India do for future? And in that, a lot of people had shared their vision, and I shared three things. Number one was that in India, the opportunity for females should be increased. I feel that the justice is not being done to the females in the country, and we have to give more opportunities, and we must create multiple platforms to get them on board and give them. And an example is that if you see the Western world or the America, or even for that matter, economies like China, the females have really led. A lot of opportunities have come to them, and they've led. And therefore, India should do that. one very critical and important thing that I also shared was at that time, I mean, I was in the core automobile field, but I had not shared about future of automobile, but I've shared about future that we should invest into R&D of energy, which is what I gave you example today also, that to develop an alternate fuel, if you or any of you can be part of that initiative, that would be something I see is going to change the fortune of the country, and definitely anybody who will work into that would be also changing the fortune of that person also. It's not going to be very easy. It's going to be very tough because all innovation and all new work takes time. But then when the result comes, it becomes very, very successful. So have that dream that, okay, we can change it. But if you start investing into the energy field, energy can be multiple energy, solar energy or wind energy, or like right now, the lithium ion energy source, or a combination of these, or something which is very unique to the country, to do research on that and see how we can make it practical. So for me, energy is the future, and I have made that statement in there some few years back that the energy segment will be required to undergo a change, and that is the future of the industry. And therefore, I would say that you have to really look at the future as energy segment is. That's something which is you must keep a close eye on. The other things are like, like few decades back, India took a lead in the information technology. So India took a lead, and as a result, we had the call centers of the world in India, and still it's the biggest, very big contributor to the economy and to the people of the country. Similarly, now this all these new technologies, whether it is we are talking about artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, and a combination and combining of all these technologies and engineering excellence is something which is important. So today, if you say that I'm a mechanical engineer graduate, I'm an electrical engineer, I'm an electronics engineer, I'm a computer engineer, it is good, but it is not good enough. What is important is the integration of all of these today. You can't find a single vehicle today which is not integrated already. And what's going to happen in future would be a phenomenal change where everything will be integrated. Your telecom, IT, electronics, electricals, mechanical parts, all will work together. So if, you have to be specialized in something, definitely, and you must learn that core area, but you must also learn how to integrate things. So you should know about everything and how to integrate things. And the future industries are all related to this. If you can work into all the data saving, like today, everything is on the cloud, gone slowly. Like we used to have hard disk and all of that is all gone now. So the future, which is related to this storage devices, future related to the new technology in automobiles, even in the IT, the next level of revolution that's going to come. I shared with you about the aviation industry. Can you contribute and be part of that? That how can we change the fuel of that which is available in the country, or for that matter, how to reduce and increase the speed, and with that, all the challenges that would come, how do we find a solution to all of that? So simulation exercises and all of that to be done so that you are more successful and prepared for the future is critical. So I would say that, yeah, these are some of the industries that I feel are going to come, but I am myself betting big on the energy segment.
Wow, thank you for this informative questionnaire for answering them, sir. I'm sure the students would definitely have a good takeaway from the answers which you have set with examples. Sir, passing on, Dr. Amit Chauhan, our HOD, would like to ask you a few questions. So over to you, Dr. Chauhan.
Is it clear? My voice is clear, Maitri?
Yes, it is.
Great. So very good morning to our guest today, Shri Pankaj Dubey ji. Namaskar from my side. I am Dean for Innovation and Research here at the Institute.
Fantastic.
And whatever inputs you have shared today, that is very enlightening to our students and as well as to our faculty. One of the key points that you have made today is that we should be hand-holding our traditions and cultures, and at the same time, we should have the foresight for the future. And you have given the right advice to our students that they should develop their skill set in emerging technologies. So I thank you very much for accepting our invite today. One question though I have is, we have a very good program on incubation for our students to have startups on campus. But one of the challenges that we usually face is aspiring or giving them encouraging them more to participate in either self-employment or for startups. So I would like to know what are your inputs to students in that regard. Thank you very much once again.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Amit. And I'm very happy that you have this incubation center, which is very critical. I'm very clear in my head that the future of India depends upon these incubation centers creating small enterprises, which multiple thousands and lakhs of such projects should be made practical and implemented, and that was going to change the fortune of the country. In order to be successful, I mean, I've given you what I feel is the future areas, but that's based on my experience. But it can be, there are so many experts available. For example, today there are a big industry can be formed around the natural learnings that we have, the kind of a natural food, the kind of a natural plants and herbs that is used for a solution locally to build our immunity. It's going to become a big industry as well, like use of tulsi, avla, some very unique herbs which are available in our Ayurveda, and you can learn all of that and make it like naturally available to the end users, and so the health improves of every individual. So that is going to be a very big industry as well. So in terms of engineering excellence, you can look, there's so many opportunities available to make vehicles like all-terrain vehicles, making it participate in Baha competition for your students, that you make a vehicle and participate in a competition and you know where you stand, what you learn out of it. So all of that can be done. And apart from that, if you make it strong, very interesting, and you can attract industries to come to you, and I'm sure the companies on the other hand are also looking at that, where can we do the innovation, and instead of everybody investing into their own innovation, can we have an institution like yours support some initiatives? So we can collaborate with a number of companies, and the students and the R&D team of the organizations can work together. So all that opportunities exist. It's just that you have to attract the like-minded people in your incubation center.
Good morning, Mr. Pankaj Dubey. This is Vasudev Rao. I work with Srinidhi Institute of Science and Technology as a Director Career Development Center. We shape the careers of the engineering students and the management students. We have BTech, MTech, and MBA also. So my question is, in this VUCA world, a lot of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. In this VUCA world, how these future technologies will shape up, even though with the current pandemic situation, post-COVID-19 or pre-COVID-19?
See, as I said, the current pandemic situation poses a lot of challenge and threat, but it also gives a lot of opportunity. The opportunity in making these like you can reach out to global world through the digital platform. Today, you are organizing a seminar where I don't have to travel to Hyderabad. I'm sitting in Delhi NCR, and from here I'm reaching out. Similarly, you can have people from, say, Europe and US reaching out to you. So what this pandemic has given the opportunity is to look at alternative, which is even more powerful than what was possible, and in a short span of time. So there are a lot of threat, lot of challenges today, but at the same time, it also gives a lot of opportunities if you think. So for the students, this is a time where they can invest into how they become experts in reaching out their product and services internationally through the digital world and become an expert in these digital platforms. You can also create your own, like it also has a lot of risk associated with it, like you are doing it on Zoom, and we have heard a lot of challenge on Zoom because it is owned by a particular country, and a lot of debate went around that you should do. Somebody from your team can create your own secured, digital video transmission where you can get the people around together, and you don't get into use these services of some external. So these are things that are an opportunity also. At the same time, you can reach out to organizations to say what are the challenges they are facing. The challenges, as I said, the companies have a challenge today to reach out in the new scenario where the business will take time to get back to normalcy, and therefore they have reduced their cost because they have to, big organizations, even government organizations are facing challenge of paying salaries to their employees. Why? Because there's no income happening. Let's say, for example, the aviation sector, there are no flights going on for so many months, or very limited flights going. And as a result, the number of employees that they have, the number of pilots that they have, number of staff that they have, and to manage such big areas across the country, but they don't have a requisite income today. So therefore, what can they do? They have to work in a revised scenario with a lower cost. And that is where I feel there's a lot of opportunity lies for the young students and for a team like yours who can actually reach out to organizations to say, okay, I can give you this support at a much lower cost. So for example, a student joins an organization, and after 10 years, 20 years, he has a lot of experience, but at the same time, he becomes a lot of high cost as well. And some of the work can be actually given to the youngsters who can implement those part of the work, and still the organization can function. So those can be an opportunities for you and your organization, where you can explore that to be of assistance and support in the revised scenario with a lower cost for them. And it gives a great opportunity for the students to learn straight away, getting into something which was not possible otherwise. Because otherwise you'll go as a trainee and you work there for some time, and then they will assess and then give you opportunity. Today, you can take up a role where a part of the role, maybe not fully, but part of the role straight away, okay, these are something where you can add value. You can groom your students to go to organization and ask them to create opportunities in the digital space, like we are discussing and having this seminar. Similarly, they can have a seminar on how to increase their product awareness across the globe and how to reach out to customers. And they become an expert and assist all organizations to digitally reach all over the place through the engineering development of tools and equipment, or through marketing initiatives. So all of that can be done by you and your students at this time. So I would only say that, it's one of the toughest times that we have ever seen. The situation is very challenging. It's not easy, but there is always an opportunity. Like it's said that if you have to find a solution to the problem, look in greater detail the problem. If you look in the greater detail the problem, somewhere there the solution will also lies. So what are the pain points right now of the people who are there in the industry? and what can you and your team give as a support. I think that is the brightest thing that you can do right now, and your students should look at this as an opportunity to contribute and learn fast.
Absolutely, absolutely, Mr. Pankaj, it is well answered, and that is the reason now the digital transformation is taking place across the globe. So a lot of things are, going on front in front of digital transformation, which is taking place. So over to you, Maitri.
Hello.
Thank you, Mr. Basu.
Hello. Excuse me.
Yes, please.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Mr. Pankaj Dubey. Actually, I just want to ask something. I wanted to do digital marketing. So, do you have any suggestions about that?
That's a very generic question. What do you, I say for digital marketing, it's a great opportunity. You have to learn how to be very specifically reaching out to your target customers. And it's a very powerful tool. So I don't know what part of the question you want me to answer right now.
Actually, I just wanted to do affiliate marketing in digital marketing.
So there are many courses available for that internationally as well as in India, where you can reach out to the shortlist the right kind of a course. And I think it's going to be a very important field for the future, because the cost of reaching out physically for the time being is not possible, but even otherwise it's very costly to reach to all the customers through mass media and others. But through digital media you can reach out very quickly, and you can do a segmentation target very well. So therefore I would say that that's a very big opportunity for students to get into the digital marketing, because that is something which is at a lower cost. You can give more output in the marketing field. So it's a very interesting, a very big field, and I would encourage you to get into some good courses and learn from there, and then go ahead. This learnings are immense. Even the companies like Google directly teach you, and there are courses run by various universities to this effect.
Thank you, Mr. Dubey. We have another question raised by a student. How to face any unexpected circumstances in terms of how can we get through this, and this as an exact innovative idea that can be taken into consideration to build a product, and how can one recognize and seek out potential investment opportunities?
So let me answer you about potential investment opportunities. Sure. What you need to do is that you have to have a very strong belief in your product that you are planning to have. And once you have developed something based on the identification of the problem and the gap which exists, and you find a product, then you reach out to the potential investor. There are so many people, there are so many organizations, and there are so many companies which specialize today to give you the financing options. There are people, there are organizations, there are consortiums which have been built, there are banks, there's government schemes. There are huge opportunities, provided you have a strong belief in your product, and it is really unique and something which is going to change and add value to the business, and it becomes successful. So if I know that your product is successful and it's going to become a reality and it will have a huge opportunities, I would like to invest. So people who have experience in identifying the right kind of project, there's so many competition that happens these days, where you have to go and present, and then there have been there's a jury members in there, there are investors sitting there. You have it online, you have it available physically as well, where you can go and showcase the product. I've been jury members to many such forums, And so I will say that, investment is not a problem if you have a good solution in hand. And if you have a good solution in hand, there are people who are looking at what is going to happen next, where I can invest and multiply. The kind of a money that is made on an investment through the startups is very high. There is risk also, but the profits are also, like, say, suppose that an investor wants to find out new product lines, they would invest into, say, 20 projects, and out of 20 projects, maybe 15 will fail, and then they'll lose the money. But those 5 will give them a profit which is equivalent to 100 investment. So that is where the smartness of the investors are, and you have to figure out. So investors are looking at such opportunities always. Even if you search on digitally on Google, you will find a lot of investor clinics happening, and where you can apply and you can have. And so Matthew, can you repeat the first part of the question, please?
Sure, sir. So how to face any unexpected circumstances? How can we get the thought in terms of the exact thought with the innovative idea that can be taken into consideration to build a product?
So
Innovation to build a product.
So number one is the question is how to face an unexpected situation. Now this, I would say that the second part of the question, which is related to innovation, is a separate question, not linked to this.
Yes.
So unexpected situations would come, and at times you will be unaware, and when something happens, your initial reaction can be anything. But how to train yourself to maintain your calm and composed behavior is what you need to work upon and learn. So something unexpected happens, you can react with a positive manner, or you can become wild and you can become angry. And so anything can happen. And therefore, train yourself to face unexpected situation is something, it's very difficult. It's not very easy, but then you have to work upon and improving yourself to see any unexpected situations. An unexpected situation, it is a very wide question. It can be just related to that you are expecting somebody to speak something and speak something else, or it is something like you were not expecting and some close relative just leave this word. So it's a very wide question, and every reaction would be very unique and very different. So I would say that you have to be, in any situation that you face, you have to look at it that what has happened. It cannot be changed. Even God does not have to change what has happened 1 second before. So what has happened. Now, what is more critical is, what are you preparing for the future? So your thought has to be, this has happened, this is unexpected, but it has happened. I can't do anything about what has happened, but what can I do is to control this situation under the circumstances today and tomorrow, and how optimistically I can play a role in that. That's something that I would like to share with you on the first part of the question. And the second, about the innovation to say the future, there are many ways that you can look at it. One of the way that is that, suppose that you are living in an area where the innovation has not happened, but the innovation has changed the life in some part of the world. And you go there and you see that, and you know that, oh, it has changed the world in this area, but I haven't seen it. And it doesn't happen in my area. And you go back to your area and you say that, oh, I love that change that has happened there. And you get a feeling that it's going to happen in your place also, because it has eased out the life of the people there. And now you work on it. So it's an innovation in this part of the world, whereas you learned it from the other part. So this is an innovation also, but it has happened. So any revolution, any innovation that starts in one part of the world, it slowly catches fire in the rest of the world. So for example, Industrial Revolution, we know it started in Europe, and then slowly and gradually it spread all over the world. So you can have a pattern to say that what's big change happening in any part of the world. And once you know it, go into detail and you start visualizing that can that change help the people in the area that you are living in the country that you're living in the state that you're living in, and you take the lead there. For example, I'll give you must have heard these big companies, Airtel and all. If you go to the ownership of this company, Mr. Mittal, he was not from the telecom background. And then he visualized that, oh, this is going to change. There was no mobile phones. People were not buying mobile phones at that point of time. Everything was landline. It was controlled by the government. The MTNL was there or the VSNL was there. So they were giving you the services. And suddenly sees, oh, and I saw that the mobile phone is going to become big. Let me enter into that area. So he saw that everybody will have a hand phone which is free from a fixed line. And then people will move with a mobile phone, and he entered into this area. And today, Airtel has become very big, as we all know. So likewise, when you can see a product which is being successful in some part of the world, and you say, I'm going to work on this. For example, electric vehicle, it's not successful in India as of now. If you compare it with the rest of the world, it's not successful. But that gives a big opportunity because we have seen that it is working in some area and you have a solution which is very specific to India, and you come here and you make the change and it becomes very successful. So what you have to see that when you're doing innovation, either it has to be like something I said, what was the fuel used by Ravan in Pushpak Viman? Must have taken it either from Sri Lanka or must have refilled it in India also. But it must be lying here only, we don't know it. But we can find out. So that's also innovation. Something people don't know today, but we can find out. So from the past, from something happening right now in the world, and something which you can see in the future, everybody is going digital. So can we innovate something very unique? Like we started with a mobile phone where we were only talking to each other. Then came that you do a video call. Now there will be augmented reality where you're talking to it and the picture of that person in live in the same size is sitting in front of you and you're talking. Right now it is only on the phone. It can be like augmented reality, it can come tomorrow. So, but what is going to make the change in the common life of the people drastically? That industry and that future is going to be sustainable and it is going to be successful. So innovation can be for some change where it's going to impact the life of every individual, or it can go and impact the life of few selected individuals, which is very unique. I mean, all of that can be planned. So I would say that, innovation is something where you can learn from the past, you can imagine the future that's going to happen, and you can identify the problems that the people are facing today and the solution that can be found, what can be done. There are innovations that can be like in today's time when there is Corona happening. I'll give you a pain point where the children are living in US and their parents pass away in India. They can't travel. Now, what can be done? They feel so suffocated. They've traveled across the world and now they're stuck in some country and they can't even attend the funeral of their loved ones. Now, there is an opportunity created by some company where they're saying, okay, we will organize live, the entire process, and you can see it sitting there, and you can do the puja in your home, and the person sitting in here can combine that. So somebody can make a business out of it, and there are people who are actually doing it. So you are sitting in New York and you are having a puja done in Sangam in Allahabad, and you are worshipping. It's just a very crude example and very emotional and tough example at this present. But then you can be very innovative in finding out the problems that people are facing today and come out with that solution, and which can be helpful for everyone. So these are some of the things that you can do to innovate. Identify the problem, the pain points, and see if you can give a solution which is like people say, wow, it's something great. I'm happy to use your services.
That was pretty unique and the thought, especially carrying amazing insight towards various verticals of innovations and its factors. Sir, on behalf of the management and everyone here today, I would like to thank you for taking your time to speak and sharing your thought-provoking responses towards the questionnaire. I'm sure and we hope our students truly inculcate and imbibe your explanatory experiences and that you parted with us today, your captivating speech. Thank you for sharing once again your journey with us. We are hopeful that we can host you for another session very shortly. Would like to thank you once again on behalf of the management and the entire team of Srinidhi. Thank you, sir, for your presence.
Thank you, Gayatri, and thank you,
Thank
Vasudevji.
you.
I think you are doing great work for the students.
Thank
You
you.
must be organizing seminars like this for a student at this stage. I know it's not an easy time for anybody to do that. So compliments to both of you for conducting this and conduct many more. And I'll be happy to associate further and give
Definitely.
guidance to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you, students. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You can end the meeting. It is done. Hi, ma'am. Good morning. Super success. Yes. Definitely, definitely. Next time I'll try to bring the group director for India and international, Dr. Mr. Nathan. Nathan is there. I will try next month if I can bring him. SV Nathan. And PepsiCo MD is also there. He's also a very good speaker. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, just correct. Okay, okay. Yes, correct, correct. Absolutely, absolutely. So actually, in between, yeah, no, 750 on our Zoom platform, and plus YouTube people also message, and yes, 900 plus. That's correct. That could start, and definitely the students also will like to join if the top people comes and address them. And because see, I was little worried because at 10:50, I was seeing only 156 students. And I asked Srinivas to send a message to all the students with the Zoom link. Yesterday, I have messaged him to send all the students. Initially, we thought of sending it to third and fourth year students. But at 10:50, I asked him to send the message to all. And another thing, in between, one student asked me raised the question like digital marketing kind of thing. So immediately, I muted him actually. After his question, I muted him. Yes, correct. Yeah, yeah. Actually, I think there should be a control from the back end. Funny is new to this, I think. Huh? Okay, okay. Yes, yes. Yes, correct. Sure, sure. Sure, sure, definitely. And one more point is after the session ends, he immediately access, he can remove the access. The still it is on because I have not logged off. I'm just seeing. I also told Funny to log off. So there are around 90 to 90 people are there on again till now also. So you can log off the log off the session. And another thing, Mr. Pankaj asked us to tag him on the Instagram. He shared his Instagram ID. He asked us to tag. Mhm. Sure. Okay. Sure, sure. I will ask him to tag. Sure, I will share that one. I will share it. Okay. Thank you. Good morning, sir. It was a very energetic and vibrant session, sir. And very, very happy with the session. And even our chairman and the secretary and directors and few of the CEOs also attended from our IT companies. And they were all happy and super excited. And there were around 1,100 people on board participated for this thing. And on the Zoom platform as well as YouTube live also there. So, sir, one more thing is for the Instagram post, I think you have tagged the other SNAST, I think SNAST something like that. So I will share that this thing. Okay, sir. I will share. Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Okay. Yes. Hello, Fanigaru. Fanigaru, can you hear me? Hello. ఫణి గారు జూమ్ మీటింగ్ ఎండ్ చేయండి.